Hello, Year 7. This is Mrs. Richardson speaking to you from her home. Um, I'm sorry that you're not in school for us to teach. We're really missing teaching you biology, and I hope that you're managing to keep on top of your biology work at home. We've obviously started our new topic of reproduction, which as biology teachers really enjoy teaching. So it's a bit of a shame that we can't teach it to you in the classroom, but I get the pleasure of delivering some lessons to you that you can have in your home. So, last lesson we looked at internal and external fertilisation and the different animals that do the different types of fertilisation and the benefits and limitations of each type, and you did some excellent book work. I saw lots of examples, so well done to you. Today we're going to look at human reproduction, and we're going to start with the human reproductive system. So what are all the bits and pieces called? So it's a shame we're not in the classroom, but those of you who get embarrassed don't need to be embarrassed if you're at home. So this is what I want us to do by the end of the lesson. So you can have this short video with me and a PowerPoint, and then you're going to stick some things in your exercise book so you can keep a nice sequence of notes in there, and then you're going to try some short answer questions on a Firefly task. Okay, and please do get in touch with your biology teachers if you have any questions or you're confused about any of the tasks. So after these couple of activities, what we want you to do is to be able to recall the parts of the human reproductive system accurately. We want you to be able to describe the function of the parts of the reproductive system, and we also want you to be able to describe how fertilisation takes place, what's the processes involved and the sequence of events. So let's get to the lesson. I'm going to disappear for a moment as we play the PowerPoint. Let's just make sure that we can write. Okay, so let's get on with the lesson. First thing we're going to look at is the male reproductive system. So this is a side-on view of the organs in the male reproductive system. The first one we've got here is the testes. Okay. The testes actually, or testis if we're talking singular, produce sperm, and they also produce a hormone called testosterone. Okay, then we've got the sperm is produced in here. The sperm are sex cells, and we'll look at them later, but you did mention those on your last homework about gametes, and the sperm then move up this tube, and this tube is called the sperm duct. So any name for a tube really in your body is either called a duct or a vessel. So this is a sperm duct. Okay, this structure here is what we call the prostate gland. Prostate gland is actually involved in producing semen. Semen is the fluid that the sperm swims in. We've got the bladder here, which isn't actually part of the reproductive system, but it's linked to it. The bladder stores urine, which is produced in the kidneys as part of the excretory system, which then leaves the body via this tube, and it's the same tube which the sperm can leave by as well. Sperm come up here and down, so it's either urine or sperm leave this tube, which is called the urethra. Okay, and then this is what we call the penis, and this is used to transfer sperm from the male's body into the female's body so that internal fertilisation can happen. Then we've got the female reproductive system. So we've got what we've got here are ovaries, ovary singular or ovaries plural. We've got, so this is where the eggs are produced, the egg cells. The egg cells then move down this tube called the oviduct, or sometimes it's called fallopian tube. The oviduct is actually where fertilisation takes place. If we remember that fertilisation is where the sperm cell and the egg cell fuse together, or the nuclei fuse and the genetic material joins together, that actually happens here because the sperm are deposited at the top here. This sort of tube is called the vagina. And as I say, it's just a tube that the penis fits into. And then the sperm are released in a process called ejaculation into this part of the vagina. And then we've got the cervix. The cervix is a ring of muscle which actually blocks the way so that nothing really can get into the uterus and damage it, apart from at certain times of the month the sperm can get through. So the sperm land here, they move through this little channel in the cervix and they're into the uterus, and then they swim up until they meet an egg cell, and then fertilisation takes place. Once fertilisation has taken place, we've got a single cell, which then divides to form a ball of cells called an embryo. And the embryo is manoeuvred down here, and then it implants into the wall of the uterus. So this is called the uterus. And this is a sort of special muscular bag almost where the baby develops. So we've got an egg cell, fertilisation happens, and then we've got an embryo which then implants and then will grow to form a baby. This is an egg cell. This is actually taken down a microscope of a real egg cell, but this is actually a computer image of a sperm cell. The egg cell is much larger, more than 1,000 times larger than a sperm cell. We've only got one is released per month, mostly. Sometimes 2 are released, and then you end up with twins sometimes. And they can't actually move by themselves. They're said to be sessile. This is the sperm. They are much smaller. And millions are released with each at one time. So they're very numerous. And these are what we call motile. They can swim. They sort of move their tail in a little corkscrew action, spiral action, and they can swim and move. Okay, so this is just a little summary. We've got the egg cells being released by the female. We've got sperm cells being released by the male. They combine and fuse together, and this process is called fertilisation. And then after fertilisation, we've got cell division. So this is a zygote, which is produced after fertilisation. Cell division, and we have an embryo. The embryo implants in the uterus, and then cell division occurs again to make millions of cells, and they also specialise. So a general animal cell that you learnt about in the first topic in Year 7 specialises to form, say, a heart cell or a brain cell or a nerve cell. And these are the processes involved in human reproduction. What we have there is a fetus which has all the organs it needs, and then that grows to become a baby at about 30 weeks pregnant. Okay, so that is human reproduction in a nutshell. Okay, so you are going to be given some pictures to label and some glossaries to stick in your book for your notes, and then you'll be given a firefly task to test that you understand the meaning of all these words and the sequence of events that I have just described. Okay, wishing you the best of luck. Bye bye.